Mock Draft Roundup 2.0. So if you don't know what this is, pretty much the Bengals, they post on their website this, and they just take the best first round selections from different news sources like ESPN, PFF, etc. Right? They just put it all in one article to kind of sum it all up. Now, I do want to start this video off though by saying, when it comes to the defensive coordinator job, right, I'm very passionate about who we get because this is a very important position. This is the future of our team. This is the direction we need to lead. And if we mess up the defensive coordinator job, we will potentially put ourselves, I would say, 2 or 3 years back, right? We don't get the correct guy to fix this defense, we're 2 or 3 years back, and then we're playing catch up trying to fix it again. So I've gotten a little bit emotional this offseason because of that. I care a lot about this team. I want this team to be successful. And when I make these videos sometimes, I get a little carried away with my emotion because of the fact that I want this team to be successful. And when I see them making things that I think might be mistakes, it kind of gets to me, right? But I do want to know an apology to Patrick Graham, who might end up being our defensive coordinator in the end. I'm not sure. But I did talk about how when he was a Miami Dolphins coordinator, he was the 32nd ranked defense. And shout out to the comic section because they brought up a good point. When he was with the Miami Dolphins, his last year with the Dolphins, that was the year they were tanking for Tua. And because of that, Brian Flores has already came out and said they were tanking. He's publicly said it, sued the Dolphins, all this crap because they were tanking for Tua. So you can't really hold that against Patrick Graham when his defense sucked, but the team was tanking. Right? So, and then there's also things about, the Raiders, and the Raiders had injuries, so that's why he also might have struggled with not struggled, but some this year had issues with the Raiders defense was because of injuries. Listen, at the end of the day, if Patrick Graham does become our defense coordinator, I will say I wish him the best of luck. I'll root him on and root him to be as successful as humanly possible. I'm not going to... I can't lie to you. I can't say that that's the pick I want, because it's not. I want Robert Saleh. That's who I want. I want Matt Eberflus. That's who I want. Al Golden, I'm cool with, Again, he's a Notre Dame defense coordinator. I've been a fan 25 years of Notre Dame. I know a lot about Al Golden. I know he used to be a linebacker coach. I am perfectly okay with that. That was the idea going into this offseason, that he would be the guy. But once you start putting, some fancy things in front of me, like Robert Saleh, Dennis Allen, and Matt Eberflus, 3 really good defensive coordinators, then you add in Mike Zimmer, it kind of just, takes away my... put some blinders on my eyes, right? But I think in the end, it's going to be Al Golden. But if it is Patrick Graham, I just want to give an apology because I really went hard on him the last couple, 4 or 5 videos. And there was no reason to. At the end of the day, he's not the worst defensive coordinator of all time, option-wise. It's just, again, I have motions based on I really want this to get right. And I don't want them to mess this up. So, let's get right into it. I apologize. It took 4 minutes to do that little rant right there. But I think it's very important to kind of break it down. Because, again, like I said, I've been going too crazy on that. But, number 1, Mikel Williams. Guy we talked about before. Someone I actually had a mock draft of. Edge rusher from Georgia. Dane Brugler of The Athletic. Actually suggest we go ahead and take him. Second option is Colston Loveland. We are not taking a tight end first round. No, not even a chance in bloody hell. I'm sorry, no. Like, no. No, we're not taking a tight end first round. I don't care. Listen, he could be a really good option. He could. We have Eric Gall. We have Drew Sample. We have Tanner Hudson and Tanner McLaughlin. We're probably bringing back Mike Gesicki. We talked about the idea of trading for Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts even then is questionable because we have so many tight ends. We do not need tight end. Edge rusher, corner, line. Pick one and go with it. Safety, Starks. This is actually something we actually talked about before. Wouldn't be against the idea of taking a safety first round. We do have a very young secondary across the board, and potentially if we lose Mike Hilton, that's also going to really suck because then you look at it, and other than Cam Taylor-Britt, who really isn't that old, if we're being honest, number 2 is DJ Turner, who's young, Dax Hill, very young, Josh Newton, who's coming off a rookie year, and that's our starting corners, right? And all those guys are super duper young. Safeties, yes, Geno Stone would be, ironically enough, the oldest because he's 26 years old. But behind him, we might lose Von Bell. So we got to look at, okay, Tyson Anderson. Tyson Anderson's not old. Look at the strong safety position. Jordan Battle, he's not old at all. He's brand new. And then we get Starks. He would be behind Jordan Battle. We would have one of the youngest secondaries in the NFL. Now, will that translate very well? We'll have to wait and see who our defensive coordinator is, right? But at the end of the day, very, very young secondary. Should be interesting. D-tackle Derek Harmon from Oregon. Yahoo Sports says this. Yeah, I wouldn't be against the idea, again, taking defensive line. Honestly, I just want this first-round pick to be a defensive pick. That's really what it comes down to. We don't have the best record of drafting defensive edge rushers. We just don't. A lot of that is Duke Tobin. And, hey, listen, he's going to be our GM no matter what this upcoming, draft. So we just kind of have to work with that, right? But I wouldn't be against the idea of going defensive lineman. We got another edge rusher, Shamar Stewart. Based on what I've seen from the comic section, this is a fan favorite for the comic sections. Texas A&M edge rusher. This is, again, someone a lot of people like in the comic section, and I've looked a little bit into his tape. I'm starting to look more into these guys' tape, especially now that we get closer and closer to the draft. I want to make sure I'm up to date as much as possible on all these guys. He does actually look pretty good. We have Josh Simmons, offensive lineman. Now, this is the last player we have here, and here's what I'll say about the first round, right? This draft is a very interesting draft for offensive linemen, mainly because for interior offensive linemen, you're not going to take them until later on in the draft. There's just simply no reason to take them first round. There's not really an offensive lineman interior-wise that I would say we would even think about taking first round. Now, you could, in all honesty, look at it and say, okay, well, what about, No, not mine. I was going to say, I'll try and play devil's advocate here, but there's really is no devil's advocate here. Like, at the end of the day, you're not taking a lineman first round. You're just not. And, yes, I will 100% agree we need to take one later on in the draft. But just first round is not it, Coach. Their tackles are pretty good first round. And ironically enough, according to PFF Simulator, this guy doesn't even pop up at all. But, yes, tackles. You have a couple good tackles first round you could take. We're not going to take a tackle personally because Orlando Brown's a left tackle. We spent a lot of money. I know he has injuries. You do want to get a backup, which, again, you could take in free agency or later on in the, in the draft. Right tackle, you get Amarius Mims. Obviously, Trent Brown's going to leave. Again, free agent depth, free agent backup, or potentially draft later on. But when it comes to interior offensive linemen, the first player according to PFF is 66. 89, 118, 123, 131, 139. There isn't a situation where you take interior offensive linemen. This draft is really good for one thing. It's a deep class for edge rushers. It has really good deep class for interior offensive linemen. It's not a good quarterback class, although there are some good options available, don't get me wrong. But it just isn't a quarterback class. There's a lot of good running backs in this class. There's a lot of scenarios where we come away from this draft in a very successful position. But we have to play this smart. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next one.